entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
All right, having a ton of fun this morning. Been a terrific show. Curtis Sleeva was great. Pete Morgan, Mr. Fearless Spoilers, live in studio. Still to come, Rich Lowry, the editor of the National Review. He's really good. He's coming up at 8:15. The tremendous columnist of the New York Post. They don't come better than her, Miranda Devine. She'll be here at 8:45. The lovely Caitlin Sinclair. She is with Charlie Kirk's group. She's in Chicago, and she's going to report live for me from the DNC today, tomorrow, and Thursday. So Caitlin will call in at 9:15 and making her debut on Sid and Friends in the Morning. She's on Fox News all the time. She's got a big Style Across the Aisle show coming up. Sky Ostracher makes her debut coming up at 9:30. But sitting right in front of me is a dear friend of mine for 40-plus years. But he's actually Lisa Orban's client. That's yeah. He's Tom Sullivan, and you know the story with Tom Sullivan, how he won, he beat Stacey Pheffer Amato. He was up hundreds of votes, and of course they found a way to steal it, and they stole the election. And I don't I don't even know Stacey. I have no reason to kill her. I don't even know her. I see her at events with Joanne Ariola. I'm not big fans of either one of them. I know you are, but I'm not. But I have to call it the way I see it. Tom Sullivan won, and Stacey Amato comes from a political family, politicians and judges, and they cheated. They literally cheated. What Trump complains about, what Kari Lake complains about, it actually happened to Tom Sullivan. So he's doing it again. And this time we're going to win by such a large margin, they're not going to be able to cheat. And he looks like $1 million this morning. Beautiful suit, has a tie, has a pin. Let me just tell you, folks, this man served in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Kuwait, all three, and happened to be at the World Trade Center on 9/11 and dragged bodies out of the building. He saved lives. This is all true. It's not a movie. And fat Stacey Amato, she's running against him. What has she done exactly? Nothing. None of that. Well, so I'll get in trouble for calling her fat, but I don't care. Here he is, my dear friend Tom Sullivan. Thomas, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Great to see you guys. I was hoping Curtis would be here.
He is.
I see him in the hallway, but in the studio.
No, you can't. It's doing. Curtis is perfect at 7:15.
Yes, he is.
If he comes on more, it becomes an issue.
Catch him all the time. One of the things you guys might not know about me is I'm a graduate of the FBI Citizens Academy.
Oh, boy.
And one of the things, we do is advocate and talk about the programs and all the good things the FBI does.
Yeah.
And
let me defend Curtis for a second, because
I'm not picking.
No,
on
I know,
him.
but you know I did. I got angry. The first day in Milwaukee, it was a Monday, my first show from the convention, and I kicked him out of the studio. Basically, I was angry because I know a lot of guys, FBI, Secret Service. George V. upstairs. He's a tremendous guy. He was a great FBI guy. And your brother Russ, who's on this show quite a bit, great Secret Service guy. 23 years for Bush and for Kerry. So I love the rank and file. So I was angry when Curtis came on day one and made it sound like some crazy conspiracy theory. But I got to tell you, to be honest, it's been a month, and we have more questions than answers, and it looks like Curtis is right every day. I'm not taking a shot at the FBI. I still think the rank and file are good people. But you have to admit, Thomas, and your brother Russ, both the FBI and the Secret Service look awful. Awful.
So absolutely, and it starts from the top. And when you give time and space for people to speculate and come up with ideas, and you don't communicate clearly and be honest and upfront, none of this is top secret stuff. None of it is going to impede an investigation. You come out and you answer the questions truthfully, upfront, and give them what they want to hear. Otherwise, people will make their own narrative, and that's what they've done.
Well, you have to admit, Chris Wray did not do what you just talked about. Terrible. And the other one, she's already resigned. Cheadle. Yeah.
That's why she resigned. And she had a lot of pressure for her to resign. Be upfront and represent your organization non-politically. Otherwise, you will give people the opportunity to go down that conspiracy road.
Right. You're right. It gives breath to it. So when you're out there in Queens and Long Island, wherever you are, campaigning, and you stop by the house, in fact, just last Saturday, you had a busy day that day. I saw you with my friend Joe over at Lenny's.
That's
celebrating
right,
the 50-year anniversary.
Street renaming.
Yeah, they renamed the street after him, yes.
Yeah,
that reminds me, too, they renamed 108th and the Beach Block after Ava Conklin.
The
I become
police officer.
You saw that?
I was there. Yeah.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah,
I become
absolutely.
very friendly with her father, Matt. You know, he texts me every day. He loves this show. He's been on the show. Made me cry. And Ava was killed by some out-of-control kid driver who should be in prison, but he's not. So they renamed the street after her this week. But when you're around Queens and all these places, do the people know that you make it clear that you support Trump, or is that something that a lot of Republican candidates kind of stay away from?
So, not Republican candidates, right? They don't stay away from it. But you have, in my district particularly, you have a lot of working class people, moderate Democrats. They are not happy what's happening, right? The quality of life, the crime, the immigration issues. They are not happy with the policies of the Democratic Party. But those are the people who would say, don't give me a reason not to vote you or vote for you. So those people might say to me, just stay away from Trump and you got my vote.
Right.
Right. Republicans kind of stay quiet about it.
Yeah.
The base, they're all in for Trump.
Yeah, because even I remember last year, Mazi Phillip, who's become one of my best friends, I love her, but she got some criticism because she wasn't enthusiastic enough about Trump. And then afterwards, they're always very enthusiastic. But I do notice that, and I'm starting to think it is part of a strategy that you guys out there trying to maybe steal a swing vote, try to stay away from that because it could be toxic. See, I love them, so I couldn't control myself, but I'm not running for office yet. So.
Right. So the reality is I'm running for a local state office. Right. So we focus on local state issues.
Right.
These are the issues that it will impact the people in my local community. So when they start talking, look, I could talk all day about the border, immigration, pandemics, events in Israel and the Middle East, all day long. I could do a semester.
That has nothing to do with Cross Bay Boulevard.
Right, exactly. And Howard Beach and Ozone Park and Far Rockaway.
So what are the major issues in those areas?
Crime by number one is the biggest issue, right? So you had Officer Diller shot and killed and murdered down in the most eastern end of the district. Then you had multiple shootings up in the Ozone Park area, kids being shot in the playgrounds. And then you have the everyday stuff. They're no longer, right, taking subways and buses. They got to spend a fortune on Ubers.
That's right. We're also not that far removed from seeing a video on the Rockaways around 92nd Street from that lady who got beat up by like 6 black guys.
So, yeah. I mean, it was brutal, right? Moving into our house.
Yes.
That's right. That happened probably about 6-8 months ago.
It happens more than is even reported, I believe. I believe that's true.
Right? You hit something touched on something very important, right? Eric Adams talked about crime being down all around. Right now, we are talking about record plea agreements. That's why crime is down. You're getting felonies down to misdemeanors down to desk appearances, and crime is down.
That's why.
That's how they see crime is down.
And the other
but
reason,
the occurrences are way up.
More. And so not only are you a veteran, and a great one, I highly decorated 3 different boys, but you also come from a family of cops. Brian was a cop for a long time. So not only are they doing what you just talked about, but is it not fair to say that cops are also not making arrests these days because they are really sick and tired of arresting these mutts and watching them on the streets 15 minutes later?
Well, that's exhausting, discouraging, but we got to go back to qualified immunity, right? That doesn't mean a cop gets to do whatever he does. If he uses the training, the tools he was given, and his knowledge to enforce the laws, he can't be held personally responsible. His house, his pension, his personal assets. They don't have that right now. And it's one of the only law enforcement agencies in the United States that don't enjoy qualified immunity.
Well, whose fault
and
is that? The mayor? Is that the governor? Who is that?
Political officials enjoy that.
Of course.
Protected by qualified immunity.
Right. So who's the person that should be out there trying to get that done and can get it done? Well,
see, this is where I have a bone to pick with Stacey Pheffer Amato, right? She's a state official. This city, the city council, is doing whatever they want with these absurd policies that do not support the law enforcement agencies in this state, to include federal and state agencies. So what are you doing as an elected state official to make sure that they're operating within sane boundaries?
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know enough about her. I mean, I'm a dear friend of yours for over 4 decades. So it didn't matter who you ran against, you know. I'd have to even vote for you over Trump, which is amazing because I love Trump. But you just we're too close. We're like brothers. So I don't really pay a lot of attention to who you're running against because I'm going to vote for you anyway. But you just pointed out one difference between you and Stacey. Give me a couple of more why you're the right choice and why she's not.
So here's what I would tell you, right? You have a career politician. Her mother was in the seat for 28 years. She's now going on 12 years, right? I don't fault her for what she hasn't or has done in life, but what I'm trying to get out there to the people, it's very time-consuming, very costly. I am a very experienced, very broad experience, 30 years in finance, still working, 30 years in the military. I just retired last year, 4.5 years away from my family. I owned a restaurant in Nassau County for 10 years. I'm associated with a family business that I do all the finances, licenses for family business, 86 years. I've had multiple jobs my whole life. I associate with people more. I just want them to know that number one, you have a choice. You have a qualified choice out there, and I appreciate the consideration. And going back to a second about law enforcement, right? I'm making a plea to all your law enforcement officers out there. My father was a detective. My oldest brother, a Secret Service agent. One brother was an inspector on the Port Authority Police Department. Other brother,
Timmy?
Brian.
Oh, Brian was.
Right. Your neighbor over there on 125th.
Love Brian.
Yeah.
And the great Karen Barbano.
And my brother Tim, 30 years in the active duty military. Brother Dan, NYPD and FDNY. This family has served this country, this state, and this city, and yet I can't get the support of the law enforcement agencies. It's completely frustrating.
Well, who's getting the support?
And
she is.
I'm making a plea to all your rank and file officers out there to please give me fair consideration.
Hold on. Are you telling me
that
they're supporting her?
That's correct.
Why?
You know, there's no other Republicans in Queens. I don't have the answer. They always tell me I'm a nice guy. This year, they wouldn't even bring me in for an interview. I filled out their surveys. I answered all their questions, and they wouldn't bring me in. So I'm just appealing to the rank and file, and I do take it personally, right?
I'd be pissed.
People say don't take it personally.
No, I'd be pissed.
My father loved this city, loved being a detective. My brothers all had full and distinguished careers serving this city. You once mentioned on the show about a dynasty. I came back at you and I said, we're not the dynasty. They're the dynasty of entitled career politicians. So do you want more of that, or do you want a person who served his country, his city, and his community?
So it's too late to get that endorsement, I guess, huh? The rank and file can endorse you, but it's too late to get it from the Machas.
You know, hey, Sid, I appreciate it. We have over 8 to a dozen retired police chiefs, 4-star, 3-star inspectors, all in district that have given me their personal endorsements. We've published them out there to include Chief Joe Fox, which everybody loves out there in the Rockaways. And him and Dad used to sit in my father's office in the house and talk for hours. Oh. But that's what my father did. They loved talking police stuff.
Father. I love
so
your father.
That's my plea to all the law enforcement agencies out there. And of course, I mentioned my brother on the FDNY. You know, so this is a family, to include myself, that has served. And we just ask for, to remember that when you go to the ballot boxes.
Here's a great former detective, great cop, who I love. I know you love him too. So do you, Pete. He checks in. He goes, Sid, Tom Sullivan is great. He knows all the real issues. He should be elected for the people in his district. We must dismantle these city council morons. He's upset. He didn't get the endorsement. Signed, Bo Dietl.
So, yep, Bo did.
Bo's the
last time I saw Bo, we were at the premiere of
the Inside Man.
The Inside Man.
About the Gemini Lounge. That's right. That's right.
That was excellent.
So you're doing a very good job in your district to galvanizing the Jewish vote. Dov Heikind is on our team now. That's a big deal. You've got me, and even
Ina Vernikov.
Ina, right?
Harry Brown, the assemblyman from Nassau County.
Yeah, from the 5 towns. I love Harry.
Yes, wonderful man.
And then you've got even the righteous Gentile Curtis Sliwa. So correct me if I'm wrong, but coming up September the 29th,
correct,
we're going to walk the streets, aren't we?
Me, you, hopefully Ina, Curtis, and Harry Brown is committed.
Nice.
And we're going to go door to door. And make our appeal. You know, I get it. It's tough. She's a Jewish woman. But,
who is? Amato?
Yeah, that's correct.
That's Italian.
Right?
Is she really Jewish?
Yes.
Oh, Pheffer may be
correct.
Jewish.
That's correct.
I don't count her as a Jew. She's a crappy Jew like Doug Hebold.
I heard the show.
Here we go. Put her on the list.
You knew that was coming.
Put her on the list.
We're back to the crappy Jew.
Well, you can't be a real Jew and then add an Italian name.
Yeah.
If you're a good Jew, you keep Stacey Piper. And I love Italians. No one loves Italians more than me. I want to be Italian. Once you add the Italian name, you're a crappy Jew. Yeah. Add it to the list. Doug M. Hoffman, Stacey Piper Amato, crappy Jews. And Jewish people will still vote for her because they think she's Jewish. She's morons, right?
Well, you know, in these particular 6 election districts, right? Lee Zeldin got 80%.
Jewish? He's
right?
Jewish.
Right.
Real Jew.
I understand.
Yeah.
He got 80%. Stacey got 80%. Tom Sullivan got 20%.
Jeez.
So, but listen, I've served in the Middle East. I understand the dynamic out there. Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, the Houthis, they're all pawns of the Iranian regime, and they're wreaking havoc on the Lebanese people, the Palestinian people, the Yemenis, right? And they're being used by Iran.
Yeah.
And they've brought nothing but destruction to Yemen, to the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
And now Lebanon was doing so well for so many years, but
it's a mess now. It's a mess.
Yeah.
So in the final 60 seconds, I'm not going to lie, for my job, I had to watch some of it. I went back and forth last night with Laura Ingraham and Jesse Waters, and I'd watch them for a couple of minutes. I'd get nauseous, put the Met game on, and go back and forth between the douchebag National Convention and the Mets. Are you able to watch this stuff, even watching it?
It's hard. So, listen, I watch so I can see it firsthand and understand. It is very hard because I do believe we have a better message. Republicans have a better message. They have some good messengers out there, right? And this is one of the problems I think that Trump has. They had Bill Clinton out there. We didn't have George W. Bush out there, right? And that's hard. And that's Trump's choice. However that went down.
Well, you see, what you're talking about is the party being united, right? So we have a former president that doesn't show up because the truth is that former president and his brother, that whole family, even his late great father, was very, very critical of Trump. But here's the difference, okay? Trump's authentic. So you're going to get Clinton out there tonight. You're right, okay?
Correct.
But between the Obamas and the Clintons and the Bidens, they all hate each other. They hate each other.
Agreed.
A lot of them do.
Agreed, but they sell it. And the people believe it.
I know.
And when you're there, right, you say, well, we were there. How can you prove that? Right? If you're not there, you know you have a problem.
So on the way out here,
if you want to go on policies,
it's not
listen,
close.
Trump, not even close.
Not even close. Well, same thing with you and Stacey. Not even close. You got the policies. So for folks today who want to help out the Tom Sullivan campaign, what's the best way to do it?
The best way is to go to sullivanforassembly.com. We have a campaign called 10 for Tom, and we appreciate a $10 donation. It's pretty simple. Obviously, you can give more if you'd like. That's not the limit. But we're trying to reach as many people as possible, and your $10 would go a long, long way from a lot of people.
There you have it. That is good to see you, Tom. You got Willis, you got Sullivan, you got Toms everywhere. It's great to see you. You know how much I love you anyway. We're friends for, again, over 4 decades. But I'm proud of you. Everything you've done has been amazing. You're a great American, and you will be a great assemblyman, and you're going to win. You're going to win.
Listen, 2.4 million people in Queens, and we have no state assembly Senate or congressional representative for the Republican Party.
How is that?
I hope to be the first in 5 decades to be out there.
You will be.
You're talking imbalance of government.
Yeah. Oh, you will be. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you vote for my friend. He'll be back again before the election. But the great Tom Sullivan, what's the district number again?
23rd Assembly District.
23rd Assembly District, the great Tom Sullivan. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you. Look great. Where are you going right after this?
Actually, we're heading down to the Board of Elections.
Oh, okay.
Downtown.
Both of those people.